Hello and welcome to Box, the football talk show brought to you by Sportology TV with myself, Ali Drew. On the last episode, we were joined by David Norris, who was talking to us about his former club, Leeds United. And on this episode, we're joined by a guest who is on the opposite side of what we were talking about the other day, who is a podcaster for Aston Villa. He's a familiar face to the show. It is Ty Bracey. Ty, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it's great to have you back on. As I just said, obviously we were joined by an ex-Leeds United player. Aston Villa did beat Leeds United at the weekend, so it's a good time to have you on. Just talk to me about that game.
I mean, it was a pretty end-to-end game. Leeds looked dangerous at times, but defensively we were just immaculate, and that's why we're doing so well in terms of our clean sheets this season. There's a statistic flying about that in every game that we've won, apart from against Liverpool where we won from 5, we haven't conceded a goal when we've won. So when you take, I think it's like 12 or 13 wins, when you take that into account, it's quite a substantial amount of clean sheets, so defensively we're just brilliant. And, the goalkeeper we've brought in is just nothing short of, 10 out of 10. So, really, really happy with the result.
Yeah, because obviously, it's not the biggest rivalry, Aston Villa and Leeds, but it is in terms of Gabby Bonahor and Danny Mills. They're like the main who have brought it to the forefront of that rivalry. So I bet it was just a relief for everyone, really, that Villa got the win.
Yeah, definitely. It was from that. I think it really started from that moment in I think it was 2019, the year that I think it was the season we went up, when we had a player down and they carried on and scored, and that's where the battle of the clubs really started for me. I used to love watching Leeds when I was a kid. The likes of Mark Viduka and Harry Kewell, the Australian players, and they were fantastic to watch growing up. But in recent years, my love for them has gone down a little bit. So.
Yeah, I did actually watch. I watched the clips of that, and the fact that Bielsa said then let the goal in, and one of the players was having none of it. It was just mad that actually happened. Crazy.
Once in a lifetime.
Villa are 9th in the table, so they are doing very, very well. Playing tonight, Sheffield United. They obviously are bottom of the table. So, are you expecting a good win tonight?
Yeah, I won't be. We're in great form. We're playing some really good football. We're keeping clean sheets against some of the best clubs in the league, if not the world. So I'm confident that we can come out of this with 3 points today. I know Jack Grealish is missing, but I'm confident we can get something out of this, definitely.
Yeah, as you say, Jack Grealish is out with injury, so he's missed the last couple of games, and it doesn't seem to have affected Villa. Like it must be quite a positive sign when Jack Grealish, he's obviously a vital part of the team and he's so good, but to see that Villa are still performing and winning without him is a very good sign.
Yeah, definitely. Anwar El Ghazi, we've been putting in on the left to take over Jack while he's been off, and he had a really good December. I think his statistics, I think it's 6 goals in 8 games, which is a great turnaround. So yeah, he's been filling that spot and he's been doing everything that's expected of him. He looked dangerous in our last game on the weekend. He did everything that was expected of him. So of course we're definitely missing him. But the statistics before he got injured, of games, I think we had only since 2018. I think we only had won 3 games without Jack. With Jack not in the team, from when he had really made a difference at the club. So, to see Anwar come in and, he's never going to be Jack Grealish, but he's doing, his duties of what we need him to do, which is quite reassuring to know, in tough times. So, yeah, really chuffed.
Well, someone who seems to be a big fan of Jack Grealish is Chris Wilder, obviously Sheffield United manager. He said he thinks that Jack Grealish is the best player in England. That was his statement, just full stop, in England. There's been a lot of people who disagree with this statement, maybe saying, eventually he might be, or he's the best English player in his team, as in Villa. What do you make of those comments? And I think he's quite happy that Grealish is out of the team tonight.
I think any manager would be happy with, him being sidelined, and his comments. The thing is with Wilder, he isn't really a media man. He says what he's thinking, and I really admire that in a football manager. I think he's bang on. Definitely the most current in form. He's definitely there. But then you've got I seen an article yesterday where Paul Scholes was saying, "Oh, you can't put Jack in the top 5 players in the Premier League unless he's playing for one of, and he quoted Man United, Man City, and Liverpool." And I just think, surely him carrying a team that isn't as good as those teams proves more than playing in a team of, a world-class starting 11. So, different professional footballers and different managers all have different opinions. And, at the end of the day, they're all human. They all just think differently. So I try and not take it to heart too much with stuff like that, because, I've always been Team Jack, since his Notts County days, so I've always supported him, and his brother's a good friend of mine, so it's more than just football to me in a way, So I've always just been, I've always praised him as much as possible. And I think for Wilder to make a statement like that is definitely deserved, and the statistics back that up.
Yeah, because I suppose not many managers, especially managers, would say anything like that in terms of players for other teams, especially when they're about to play the team tonight. They don't go out there and say statements like that. Players don't either. They won't give credit to any other team or players. So it's quite something to have that from a sort of, not a rival team because they are bottom of the table, but from a different team manager.
Yeah, definitely. I think he can say that because he's out, so they can, I wouldn't be surprised if
in the table.
Yeah, it's not like, I feel sorry for them in a way, because they had such a good first season, but second season syndrome is a real thing. It happens. You're seeing clubs that did really well last season and maybe the season before struggling this year, and Sheffield United are a product to that. And I think, Wolves are probably underachieving a little bit, as, I think they're in 12th or 13th, and they were pushing for Europe not so long ago, so it's been a weird season this year, and I think fans not being there is a massive contributor to that. Away form, we are joint in the top 5 European leagues on away clean sheets with Paris Saint-Germain in the top 5 leagues, and last season we were only one of 2 teams in the top 5 leagues who didn't keep a clean sheet away from home. Literally the other ends of the spectrum in one season, crazy. But I do think that fans do have a contributing factor to that at all, because there's some stadiums, Sheffield United, coincidentally, as we're talking about, I last went there when we were both in the Championship, and that, in the away end, there's literally just men screaming at you for 90 minutes, and it's quite a patronising stadium to go to. You don't feel, you feel quite small when you go there. They're very vocal to their away fans. So yeah, but I'm not going to dumb down how well we're doing and say it's just purely because of fans, but I think that is a contributing factor in some way. Maybe our home form might be a little bit better. If we had, 40,000 people in Villa Park, got 30,000 season ticket holders, the whole ends, in my opinion, one of the greatest stands in English football, and it would just be nice to get back out there, wouldn't it? 100%.
Can't wait till fans are back. Hopefully it won't be too long. They're talking actually about maybe the last games of the season to have fans, which would be a great end to the season. But
that'd be outstanding.
Yeah, you just don't know, do you? You were talking there about the sort of difference between last season and this season, where Aston Villa were sort of fighting to not get in the relegation battle. They were not doing well, and to just see how completely different it is this season. Do you think that Dean Smith has managed to? It's been how has he done this? How has he sort of gone from such an extreme in just one season?
It's a very good question, but I feel like there's a few explanations to that. And it's hard when you don't really know what goes on behind closed doors to answer that question. But I'll give an answer of what I think is quite fair. So we've brought in Craig Shakespeare as an assistant alongside John Terry. And I feel like John Terry now has more contribution to the defensive side of things, and Craig Shakespeare has responsibilities on the other side. I think that's one part. We've got one of the greatest centre-backs in Premier League history, if not definitely English football, which is a massive contributor. We've got Ezri Konsa, who was under Dean Smith at Brentford, so he knew exactly what he was capable of. He was young, willing to learn, and you can see that he's playing some, amazing football. Excuse my bias, but I'd be absolutely shocked if he isn't in the Euros. How can you have 8 clean sheets and not be in the Euros? Tyrone Mings, a vocal leader, strong. Gets criticism online if he makes a mistake here and there, but he is solid. He's a solid defender, great vocal. He's a leader on the pitch. He might only wear that captain's armband when Jack isn't there, but he's a leader for me on the pitch, and that's really important. Emi Martinez, definitely 100% a huge contributing factor. Matty Targett has leveled up this season, 100%. He's come miles from where he was last season. We've strengthened our right back with Matty Cash, who I think up until 2 seasons ago was a right winger, and now he's playing right back. I think he only played 1 season as a right back, and he's quality defensively, and we've got those attacking tributes that he has from the rest of his career, which is massive. So I think it's a huge mix of, we've brought Craig Shakespeare in. John Terry's more involved in the defensive side of things. This is a maybe, I don't know this. Premier League experience, and regular football is a big one. You've got to remember that the year we came up, I think we lost, I can't remember the exact number. I think it was like 13, 14 or 15 players, so we had to spend big on players and take risks. And, we're not going to get a full squad of world-class players for 120 million in the Premier League. You're just nuts when everyone's like, oh, you spent 120 million on a squad and you only stayed up on the last day of the season. Yeah, because we had to rebuild an entire squad. And, you're seeing the likes of Trezeguet, he's done a season in the Premier League. He's coming along. Traoré this season, he's coming from the French league, and he's now found his fitness, and he's looking dangerous going forward. Anwar Al Ghazi's finding form, so I think it's collectively the team are working as a team. I think that's also a contributing factor. Yeah, so I think there's a lot to that question, and I don't think there's one definitive answer.
Well, whatever it is, it appears to be working. It's going well. Just moving to the sort of top of the table. So Man City, I think they're on like 21 unbeaten games. It's ridiculous, the run of form that they're on. Do you just think they're going to continue this now to the end of the season?
Yeah, they're definitely not getting caught by anyone. I mean, would it surprise me if they went unbeaten for the rest of the season? No, absolutely not. Liverpool are struggling with injuries massively, and you can see that, but Pep Guardiola is a world-class manager. I mean, I know he's only done it at the highest level, and people will go, oh, yeah, well, send him to Rotherham United and let's see him get him to the Champions League. Like, no, he's a world-class manager, and he plays Cruyff ball, which is, one of the pioneers of the 4-3-3 tactic and possession football, so he's got a world-class squad, and the depth in his squad, like you look at their bench and you're mesmerised by their bench, let alone their starting 11. They've got so much quality in their squad. I mean, if Liverpool get Van Dijk and Gomez back and all of their injuries sorted, I tell you what, I still don't think that Liverpool team last year would touch the team that Man City are, the football that they're playing now. They are literally bomb-proof. They're playing some amazing football, so I mean, I'm a lover of the game. I don't really dislike a club. I like watching attractive football. When I'd go to Villa Park, and let's say when we're playing Liverpool, I'm excited to watch Mo Salah come at, run towards our defenders. Of course I don't want him to score, and I want him, like, our players to tackle him, but I'm just a lover of football, and I love watching world-class players, so obviously you don't want the good players to score against your team. I've stood in the whole end when Jamie Vardy's going like this at the Villa fans to 15,000 people, and he doesn't care. He's like, come on, give it me. I'm just a lover of the game. That's all it is, so it's just one of those that they playing really attractive football, and long may it continue. And they're just showing why they're up there with the best teams in the world.
Well, yeah, because you mentioned there that they've got such strength and depth, and they've got loads of players on the bench who could just come in, and they're top quality footballers. Do you think that there's been a lot of injuries this season? Liverpool have had loads, Leicester have had a lot. There's been a lot of teams that have struggled with injuries. But do you think that because they've got such strength and depth at Man City, do you think that's why they've sort of come out better than everyone else? Because even though there's been injuries, they've got so many players, it actually doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, they had some defensive problems, and John Stones has come massively into form, and I think he's come into form at a perfect time. Him and Ruben Diaz are they're world class together. They're playing some really good football, and I'm happy that John Stones has found that form, because I think Guardiola knew there was a defender in there. It was just him, proving to himself that he was capable of playing at that level. And I can't imagine that's easy for anyone. I've played a Sunday League game here or there, and in fact, I've run the line of a Sunday League game. Being a linesman, when I've just gone to watch my mates, and someone will go, "Can you line up?" And my heart's beating like 10 to the minute. Am I going to make the wrong call? Do you know what I mean? So so to be knocked that low and then bring yourself back up to those levels, unbelievable. And I think they haven't really been hit for injuries this time around, but their defensive options have all come into form at a really good time. They had Fernandinho, who originally is a centre defensive mid, and he's been falling back into defence. So I think it might be a contributing factor, but I think as a whole, I think Man City are just Man City, and I think they're really going to start pushing again. I think last season was a kick up the backside for them. But I'd love to see them and an informed Liverpool team, and maybe even Man United. I mean, I'm not massively fond of Man United, but, I'd love to see all three of them just playing at an elite level where none of them are losing a game until they come up against each other. It's, I'd love to see Chelsea as well. I'd love to see Chelsea come back into, they've spent a lot of money this summer, and they've just hired a good manager, and they've got rid of Frank Lampard. Love to see a top four where they're all literally pushing, like another season where it goes down to the final game of the season. Imagine that, 4 teams where it goes to the final game of the season. The results depend on it. Oh God, it'd be insane. It'd be insane.
Yeah, it's been a while since it's been like that, but it would be great to see, because obviously last year Liverpool were just flying, Man City
worlds apart,
just flying. So yeah, another issue that I think we spoke about last time, but has been brought up again, is the VAR. There's quite a lot over the weekend that was a bit controversial. There was, I think, the refereeing as well, where they allowed a free kick to be taken, then they disallowed the goal, and he blew his whistle again. There's all sorts of stuff with VAR and refereeing that's constantly being brought up pretty much every week from football. What do you sort of see as the solution to these problems? Do you think that the standard of refereeing needs to improve? Do you think that VAR needs to change?
It's a very good question. And I tweeted something that gained quite a bit of traction online. It had received the impressions for that tweet were in the millions. So I think it's one of two things. I think the standing of refereeing has dropped. I think that's part of a problem. Look at the West Brom Brighton game on the weekend, where he said to the referee, "Can I take it?" And he's gone, "Yeah." He's blew his whistle, and then he scored, and he's gone, No, I can't do that. The goalkeeper, Sam Johnson's still lining up the wall. He shouldn't have said yes in the first place. There's one problem. Now, the tweet I was referring to, I put out, so in Australian football, soccer, whatever they call it, they're very transparent. So they have VAR. But everything on camera is they're talking to their version of Stockley Park, and you can hear the conversations that are going on. So I'm pulling it back for this, and I want you to look at this. And this is why we're looking at this. It's very transparent. Now, you're still going to get user errors. That's still going to be a thing. But at least you've got transparency of what they're doing, because nobody knows. There was one last night where Aymeric Laporte, is offside. And you look at the line, they're measuring his armpit to the defender's ankle. And it's not in a straight line. It's like, it's angling his armpit. And if you put it literally in a straight line and you've got a ruler and gone straight down, it's on his ankle. It's not offside. I mean, they won anyway, but, it's not offside. And you're just like, what are they doing? So transparency is the number one thing for me, as to be fair, it's probably on an equal par with the standarding of refereeing. I think referees need to be held accountable more for bad decisions. Like, for example, last season, we've scored a goal in the 94th minute against Crystal Palace, but the refs blew the whistle before the ball's hit the back of the net. So VAR can't check it. And I still to this day, I think he's booked Grealish for diving, even though he clearly got took out. But Kevin Friend's never refereed against us since, and so everything's going on behind closed doors. But let's just talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. They're human. If they're going to make an error, it's fine. It happens. They're human. But I definitely think we need some transparency on the pitch. Like, it's killing the modern game. Now, you don't celebrate football in a stadium until you're kicking off. The other team's kicking off from the centre circle. That's not football. You know, I want the ball to rattle in the net, and I want to hear the net rattle, and I want to fall down 3 rows because someone sent me absolutely flying and I'm temporarily concussed. I want that level of football. But now it's like, oh, that was a bit close. Like when Al Ghazi scored that goal against Leeds. He's looking at the lino like, oh, was I off there? He wasn't off, but, you know, he's sceptical to celebrate because he thinks he might be offside, you know, and that's just where I agree VAR should probably be in there. I'm happy for it to be in there. But transparency is definitely, for me, needs sorting, and the standard of refereeing. I think the referees aren't the problem. I think they need to be a bit stricter with these referees on when they're making mistakes and making it clear of the mistakes they're making. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, because I think the audio, we can't hear the audio, I think, for like 5 or 7 years or something. It's ages till we get to hear audio, or if we ever do. But
why?
Yeah, it's
why?
Years down the line. It is crazy. So
I'll need hearing aids by then.
Before we finish, I just want a prediction from you on where you think Aston Villa are going to be at the end of the season in the table.
Oh, if you'd asked me at the start of the season, I would have been happy with top 14. If you asked me today, I'll be happy with top 10.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to be too optimistic and say, yeah, European tour. You know, I'm not going to do it. I'd be happy with anything in the top 10.
You think the
Definitely.
European is a chance? Potential?
There's a chance. A chance is definitely the right word to use. There's definitely a chance. But anything in the top 10, I'll have a big smile on my face. I'll say, yeah, absolutely top 10. Because then we can build again from next year. We need to spend a lot more money again this summer. So that puts in a position when we're recruiting talent of, this is our vision. We want European football. Look how close we got to it this season, you know, or even we're in European football, come and join us, you know. Either I'd be happy with, because I think in terms of the owner's vision, we're still a few years ahead of, we definitely went up a season before the owners expected us to. But we're on the right path, definitely on the right path. That I'm certain of. Anything top 10. Do I think we could get Europa League? Yeah, I do.
Well, fingers crossed for you, Ty. Thank you so much for speaking to me. It's been great chatting, and good luck to your team tonight.
Up the Villa.
Thank you. Great to be joined there by Ty Bracey, talking all things Aston Villa. But guys, stay tuned. We have lots more coming up on the show and on the channel in general. Please do what you can to support, subscribe, share, leave some comments, like, whatever you can. We really, really appreciate it. And we will see you next time.